Know what that feels like. But if we can take what life gives us, and instead of contracting and shrinking and going back, we take a stand and we take a risk and we go, is that all you got? Come on, life, is that all you got? Give me more. Let's do this thing. But what's this thing that we're doing? What is this thing that we're doing? Why are we here? Well, we're the ones we've been waiting for. We're a new day dawning. We are one heart, one mind, one life, one world. We are the ones. And we're here, I believe we're on the planet to discover our oneness, to move through humanity, to move through all that life gives us. And life gives us, what life gives us is just what life gives us. Like, what if there's nothing wrong? And what if life isn't happening to you? It's just happening. And then you have a choice. And we have a choice. We have a choice every single day. But when we're caught in a consciousness that says life is happening to me, it's easy to lose sight of something bigger. It's easy to begin to step back. It's easy to begin to contract. It's easy to go, oh, what is this world about anyway, and why am I even here? It's easy to energetically shrink. But today we're talking about catching a vision, catching a vision, catching a divine idea that is bigger than any of us. And I say catching on purpose. It's not like catching the baseball that's thrown at you 100 miles an hour. Not that. It's like catching a butterfly. It's like putting your arm out, putting your consciousness out, and allowing that vision, that butterfly, to gently land in the palm of your hand. Can you feel the energy of that? I mean, doesn't that have a sweetness to it? A sweetness that is about allowing and receiving rather than snatching and trying. Did you ever notice that, like, trying doesn't really work that well? Now, I'm going to completely contradict myself in a moment, but if you're trying to figure things out, like, that won't work. Like, it's trying to figure things out that gets us tied up in mental knots. When we're tied up in mental knots, we actually have no energy to be co-creative. But when you let go of trying to figure it out, and you begin to allow a vision to come, there's a totally different experience there. It's open, it's receptive, it's playful. I mean, who wants a little more fun in their life? Okay, 6 of us. Will the rest of you play anyway? Okay, a couple more. Good, good. I mean, don't we all want, I mean, it's so easy to get so serious about life. But what if we're here to play? And what if it's in our play that we actually activate the energy that allows us to co-create that which was being given to us? I mean, doesn't that feel much more exciting? It does to me. So a vision is that thing, when received from that which is greater than us, that will give us the catapult, that will give us the launch pad, that will give us a divine idea out here. When you have a divine idea out here, some of us call it, goals or intentions or whatever, and that's all good. But a vision is more spirit-directed. It's not as tangible. Like a goal, if you have a goal, you know exactly what and what it will look like and how it will manifest and when, and the whole SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, all of those things. That's a goal. A vision is much more about a way of being. It's much more about who we be and who we become as we lean into our vision. So notice the language, right? Allowing, leaning, not striving, not figuring out, not pushing, not efforting. Excuse me, I need got those fake lilies in my throat. If you were here last week, you noticed we didn't have real lilies, we had fake lilies. That's because I am like so allergic to real lilies, my throat closes up. But my throat's closing up, so maybe I'm allergic to fake lilies too. We just moved them off the stage. Anyway, sorry about that. So a vision is, well, let me say it this way. If we don't have a vision, then we're dealing with what life throws at us, and it becomes like a dodgeball game, right? Or it comes like a juggling act. I gotta handle this, I gotta handle that, I gotta dodge this, I gotta, and it's like, what about this, and what about that? And all this stuff comes at us. That's just the stuff of life, no big deal. But if we don't have a greater vision, then we're caught doing that. But when we individually and collectively have a vision, then our focus is out here. And when we align our focus with a big vision, then all that stuff that comes flying at you just becomes like little anthills. Like you just deal, but without giving your intention or your energy or your focus to all the small stuff. And so when we talk about what our vision is, I have a personal vision. I think it's really important to have a personal vision. What do you stand for? What do you stand for? And part of that is the calling to what's more. So some of you have heard this story, but I think it's valuable to share again. Somewhere last summer, there was an event in this building that was the World Peace Day. It was Eckham. It was the Oneness blessing. People had a World Day of Peace, and we were via video in India, and it was really cool. And I had never been in this building before, and I didn't know anything about this place. And I sat down with my friend Rose, right about there where Mike is, and just was looking around. We still had pews then. And I went, what is this place? And at that moment, it wasn't really much of anything, at least as far as activities were going. And all of a sudden, people were gathering, we were early. I went, oh, geez. That's not what I said, but you can't say what I said in the microphone. So use your imagination. Oh, geez. I have work to do here. And my friend Rose looked at me, she goes, did you just say something? I said, did that come out of my mouth? I said, yeah, I don't know what that means, but there was something inside of me that was greater than me. Right? We talk about both. That which is both within me and greater than me. It moved me. So those words came out of my mouth. The event finished. It was lovely. I went downstairs. I met Alan. And he said, who are you? And I said, I'm Eliza. Who are you? And he said, I'm Alan. And you know, what you do? And he said, I said, what is this place? And he said, well, it has been. And right now we're not having services. And yet I know there's more to do here. And I said, just had that same feeling upstairs. I said, I don't know what that means. And then, you know, the next thing I know, Alan's calling me all the time, saying, what are we going to do? I said, oh, geez, I have work to do here. And so that started, you know, a regeneration, it's something new, but it's not new and different. Right? It's something different, and it's all of what this has been. I was talking to Alan this morning. His mom used to come here like, what'd you say, 9 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and then longer ago, and somebody else was talking about when this was actually a Unity Church, and somebody was talking about, somebody came in a few weeks ago and said, hey, my grandfather made this pulpit by hand for my dad, who was preaching in this, was it Methodist at the time or something? I'm looking at Kelly, she had the conversation with that young man at the time. And so there's such history, like who are we, which is super important, but who are we becoming, which is even more important. And again, individually and collectively, like who am I? But who cares who I am really? Who am I becoming? Because on this planet, we are consciously evolving. There's a whole body of work, Barbara Marx Hubbard and a bunch of people, the conscious evolutionaries, the conscious evolution. Barbara died a couple weeks ago, and she was one of my mentors and one of my teachers, and worked with her for a while, not as long as some people in this room, but for a while, and was really close in a small group with her sister, Patricia Ellsberg, for a couple of years, a weekly group, and so was really impacted by her work. But if you think that we are ever evolving, right, as humanity, we are ever evolving, and we are ever evolving in consciousness, we are at a quantum leap point. We are at a crossroads that humanity will either quantum leap into the next level and the next dimension of being, which is oneness, right? Or we'll destroy ourselves. Some days I think it's a 50-50 chance. Most of the time I know that we're going to make that leap. I know that we're doing it. I know that we're doing the work. But if we are ever evolving in consciousness, then we have to either ever be evolving, and if we quit evolving and growing and expanding, then science says if we're not expanding, we're what? We're contracting. If we're not evolving, then we're devolving. If we're not continuing to live life to the fullest, then we begin dying. But what is that thing that's causing us to continue to grow, to continue to expand? It's an inner impulse. It's the impulse of creation itself. And so each of us has a soul. We have a soul path. We have our gifts. We have our visions. We have our purpose. We have the things that we do, the things that we're good at. We have our lives. And within that, there is something for each and every soul to be doing, to be growing, to be expanding in. And this is the really cool part. Every organization has its own soul pattern, has its own soul impulse, has its own collective. Like everybody sitting here today is the Center for Spiritual Oneness. When we come together this afternoon and do our community conversation, which I hope everybody stays for, we'll begin to discover that which is greater than us. That impulse that is within, ingrained, just like that seed who was willing to grow, had the DNA, had the imprint for who it was becoming. The soul of the Center for Spiritual Oneness has within the seed of it who we are becoming. And what our work gets to be, our play gets to be, because it's really kind of fun, is to discover that. Collectively, to discover that. And who are we? We begin to look at who are we? Who do we want to be? What's the impulse within us calling us to be? And it could be, like we're supposed to be here for a few months and then we'll all dissolve and go our ways and then we'll try again later. That could be it. Or it could be that there's something really magical that this organization, this center has to be and do in Hot Springs. I mean, I think it's time. I think it feels like magic is in the air. I feel excited about what's potential, what the possibility is for this place over time. And so we begin to align, discover, and then align ourselves with that vision, and that alignment with our vision means we begin to act as if. Some of my, I work with quite a few personal clients and in small groups and things, and I said, sometimes the most important spiritual principle is this. Just get delusional. Mm-hmm. Just get delusional. Because your rational mind, your subconscious mind, we're 95% unconscious. Your unconscious mind goes, well, I don't know how to do it, and this is who we are, and this is who we've been, and we've never done it before, and it's just not in my cards, and I don't really want it that bad, and I don't want to work that hard, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But when we catch a vision, when we catch a purpose, when we catch and we latch on with an open-handed, easy, like let that butterfly land. and we begin to align with it, we're actually changing our vibrational frequencies. We're actually freeing ourselves from the unconscious, the subconscious. We're actually breaking patterns and dissolving obstacles simply by aligning to it. And then we begin to act from that place, as that place. We become the ones who are involved members, partnership, ownership members of an organization that is doing magic in the city of Hot Springs. Does that excite anyone?
Yes.
I don't know if that's enough. Like feel into the possibility of knowing that you're on the planet for a purpose, and part of your purpose is to get this organization sustainable and visible and packed, because we're serving a need in Hot Springs that has not been met up till now. Does that get anybody excited? Okay, that feels a little bit better to me. But then we have to align with that, right? We can't go, yeah, it's all my vision, and then you go home and go, oh man, I don't know, that'll never happen. Well, because that's what you're going to get. You have to begin to live it. You have to become, we have to become the ones that are already doing it. Like if you want to be, what do you want to be in your life? And you want to have, what do you want to have in your life? And you come from that place, it has to show up. When you align vibrationally in the quantum field, when you align vibrationally with that which is already in your vision, it is guaranteed to happen. It is science, it is physics, it is chemistry and biology, it is neurology. It has to happen. But we have to do the work to get ourselves there. And sometimes that takes growing new muscles, growing new neural pathways. It takes landing in the silence to catch the vision. It said in the World War II, soldiers had to know their purpose, boom, at the top, any moment, because somebody, if they were out wandering and somebody said, what's your purpose? And they didn't know it, immediately they were shot dead. Maybe we should think about that. I don't mean be out in the world shooting people dead, but I mean getting so clear about what our purpose is that we can say it in an instant. I'm about world peace. I am about world awakening. I'm much more about awakening than peace personally, but I'm about a world awakening, because when we awaken, we find that love, that joy, that peace. When we awaken, we find that oneness that is in our name, in a way, not that we can think about it and talk about it, but that we be it. And when we be it, everything changes. Everything changes. When we be the ones we're waiting for. When we be that vision that is spirit directed. We get out of our own way, we get out of our heads, we get out of our ego, we get out of our personality, and we align to that which is greater than us, for a greater purpose than us. And when we do that, we discover a million dreams. We discover a million dreams for a world that works. So the first step is to get quiet, to drop beneath the chatter of the mind, to drop beneath the habits of the subconscious, the emotional patterns, to drop beneath that and land in that center of your being, that crossover point, that portal to a new dimension. And then to receive, to catch your vision. And us collectively to begin to catch our vision. We won't catch it all today in our community conversation, but we're going to start. So that people go, well, what is that place about? We begin to know, we begin to say. Because right now, I don't know. And people ask me, and I go, well, oneness. Yeah, but we don't know. So as we develop that, then we're building roots. We're dropping beneath the surface of the earth, down into that yummy, dark earth of spring, so that we can begin to sprout, so that we can bud, so that we can bloom. in our right place on the planet as one of a million dreams on the planet for today and for all time. I hope you join me in the community conversations. I hope you join us in catching your own vision and our collective vision. God bless you.